Okay, so I kind of wanted to update everybody on my situation. Don't mind this mess. But kind of figured it'd be easier for me to do video than it would be for me to try and explain everything on a text post. So bear with me. So probably end of 2015, I met a girl. Her name is Emily. Her and I actually became really fast friends. I really didn't start hanging out with her probably till a little bit into 2016, I want to say. And I have to say, like, when I first met her, I always kind of had that vibe with her that I didn't really fully trust her. That I just kind of had this feeling that she wasn't fully who she said she was. But I digress. Fast forward into like 2016, 17, her and I became really close. But the whole time that I was friends with her, I just kept thinking like there's just something I didn't like about her. So I kind of always had this wall, I guess, between me and her. I would say middle of 2016 is when we kind of agreed to move in together. We were thinking about, I wanted to get my own place, and I know she said she was looking to move out as well. So we both had kind of decided to move in together. This was probably last 2 summers, 2016. We didn't really start looking at places till towards the end of the year, mainly because we kept having to postpone moving out with job switches, things like that. Money-wise, I personally just wasn't always ready. I had a lot of debt that I needed to pay off that I'm still paying off, to be honest. But as I kind of got to know her a little bit more, I realized that moving in with her probably wasn't the best idea. I just kind of felt like her and I would not get along. She's very much controlling in a way that if things don't go her way, then all of a sudden the world is ending, and she'll bitch and moan about it. Or if you say one wrong thing to her, then all of a sudden you're just become like the biggest enemy in her life. It was just stupid. But I would say we moved into this house February 2017. Within the last month before moving in there, it became very apparent that she's pressuring me to move in. My dad, I know, is ready for me to move out as well. But I know that if I had said, like, I needed a few more months, he would have been fine with me staying there until I was financially prepared. I was not financially prepared in February when we actually had moved to the point where I had to ask a family member for money to be able to put a deposit down for the house that we now live in. Mainly because 6 or 7 years ago I moved in with a man that I only knew for 2 months. He wasn't a good person. He was a very emotionally abusive asshole, and I got stuck with paying all the bills while living with him, and it ended up being to where we actually ended up getting evicted. And that I never went to court for it, but it just shows up as a judgment on my credit, which I didn't even know about until we moved into this house. So it was never on my credit before. If it was, then it was hiding somewhere that I never saw. I just literally found out about it while we were applying for this place that we live in now. So obviously if I had known about it, I probably would have tried to pay it off in the last 7 years that it's been on my credit. But I digress. So moving in here, being pressured to move in here, it's pretty much been hell. And I kind of explained to you guys before about like the whole situation with my other friends that her and I were both friends with, and the whole wedding situation. Well, she initially told me that she didn't care, that like as far as, because she knew that I was telling the truth. She believed me that I didn't do these things that other people were saying I did. So I ignored it, and I was just like, that's fine. Well, then after that wedding is when she started acting like a complete cunt, basically. She essentially started just ignoring me, or being shady as fuck. And I finally did confront her about it. She said that living with me was difficult. Now, mind you, her and I have completely different schedules. She works the day, I work night times usually. Pretty much the last couple of months, we were completely avoiding each other. We barely talk as it is. It was like that before she even said any of this to me. So I just kind of never really understood where this was even coming from, because I'm the one that cleans the house. I'm the one that does the dishes. So I don't know why she thinks that living with me is so difficult. Maybe it's just because she doesn't do a fucking thing. if anyone thinks it should be difficult, it's me, which it is. I never should have moved in with her, and I knew that beforehand, but she pushed it so much that I just essentially said, fine, let's fucking do it. Now fast forward to last week, a couple of days ago, she decided to text me and tell me that she talked to the landlord and said she didn't like living here, so the landlord's letting us out of our lease, which that's fine. But then the next day is when she decided to tell me that she wanted to be off my car loan because she had initially co-signed for me to get a new car because my other one is breaking down. Now, mind you, she was planning on getting another car as well, but she's the one that offered to co-sign for my 16 Corolla that I had with me. She offered to do that. But then she said she wanted to be off the loan. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out the way she wanted it. It's not like I could just, you're off the loan, that's it. It was either refinance the car, which wasn't an option since I've only had the car for a year, or get a new car. So basically, I had to pay $700 for which money I don't have, because mind you, I have to get this new car, still pay rent for August for the house, and somehow find a place by September and have all the money in the world to be able to do that. So hopefully I won't have to pay August rent, because when we first initially signed the lease, we paid first and last month's rent, and since we're not getting evicted from the house and he's just letting us out of our lease, that I shouldn't have to pay August rent, because technically August is our last month. He said that even if we do have to pay August and he does find somebody by September 1st, he'll refund us. Still not really in best option for me because of the fact that I have to go through all this fucking bullshit that she's putting me through right now. So I got a new car, but I'm basically broke now, and I have no idea that how I'm gonna be able to pay for rent for August and also find a place by September. And now I'm glad I'm starting a new job, but I'm not going to be able to see good steady paychecks till after September probably, so who knows. My parents are willing to help, but they're not willing to let me move back in unless it's the absolute last option for me. Because I did talk to him. My mom agreed to help, but the first thing she said is, if it's possible, I prefer you not to move in. Which, that's fine, I get it. I just moved out. I'm sure they were already, I'm 29 years old, you know. So that's basically my situation. I'm basically being fucked over by somebody I considered a good friend, which in my eyes, she's not a good person. She's not as nice and awesome as she claims to be, although I'm appreciative of her for offering to co-sign for me for the car. But if I would have known she was going to be a giant cunt a year later after this, I would have never agreed to let her co-sign for me, and I would have rather just stick with a car that was still taking me from point A to point B, but what good did that do for me, honestly, at this point? So, I mean, yes, I got a new car, yes, I'm on it by myself, but I'm also paying $100 more a month for a new car and had to put money down that I really just didn't have. So basically, she's just being a fucking cunt for no reason. I literally did nothing to her, at least not to her, no, not to her at all, not to her specifically. I obviously know that these other catty-ass girls that thought I did something I didn't are obviously saying shit to her that is untrue, and of course she's gonna believe it hook, line, and sinker, and just fuck me over in the process. So it kind of sucks. So sorry for the long video, guys, but like I said, it was so much easier for me to do it in a video than to have to write a long ass paragraph for you to read. So thank you guys for listening.